Hello, and welcome to the Feedback Show. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley.
And welcome to our new setup. I hope you like it. It's for the first time you're actually able to see us on camera as well as what's on the screen. And you may be wondering, but I do have control over how much you can see of us. So I deliberately didn't want to scare you by full screening us. So we can, we'll start off like here, and then I'll drop us down to the corner when we get into some of the feedback for today. Anyway, how are you, Dad?
I'm very well, Steve, as people can see. This is a great thing. Normally, you know, when you don't see me, I could be pretending, couldn't I?
Yeah.
But no, I'm fine, Steve. No. More importantly, how are you? Because you've had a bit of a rough spell over the last couple of weeks.
I have. I had some problems with my eardrum, which is still healing. But it was horrible. Anyone that's had vertigo or anything like that, it was terrible, and it set me back a little bit. But I was able to drive down today and set up this new setup for everyone. This is what we teased last week on the podcast, and yeah, it's exciting to try something new and see what everyone thinks.
It is, yes. I hope we perform well, Steve.
Yeah, me too. Well, we can always edit it if we don't.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got some surprises coming up as well. We've only got 2 entries for the feedback show, 2 talking points, but we've got a few surprises that I hope you'll like. So let's minimise us and get on with the first one, shall we? So this is from Gabrielle, and Gabrielle says, "Hi Steve and Colin, I've just finished this portrait of my friend's daughter in coloured pencils. The medium is hard to use, but I gave it a go. I much more prefer the pastel pencils and was wondering if Colin could do a similar portrait like this as a tutorial. Thank you again, kind regards, Gabrielle."
Well, we deal with the first thing first, the coloured pencils. Considering they are really hard to use, you've done a brilliant job. But there's no getting away from it. The pastel pencils is much more forgiving. First of all, with coloured pencils, if you make a boob, a mistake, it's very hard to get it out. You can, but it leaves marks on the paper. So it's very hard to
scratches the paper.
Oh yeah, it's very, very hard to use. Whereas pastel paper and pastel, especially pastel pencils, are much easier because they're more forgiving. And they make fantastic job of portrait. In fact, we've got some portraits coming up, haven't we? Very soon, so you'll be able to see a few more of what I've done. And the main problem, I think, here is the hair flow. If you look at the hair on the photograph, you'll see that it's very wispy. Whereas when you try to copy and draw it, you can't help but make it rather stilted. Even with pastel pencils you get that, but with the pastel pencil you've got one advantage, and that is that you can use the colour shaper nowadays. And of course you can imagine if the middle one had been done in pastel pencils and you'd had the colour shaper, you could have just made that very much like the one on the left, sorry.
Yeah.
And it would have been much easier to produce. So, you know, you've got lots of advantages. But I would certainly do that. And could I do a similar portrait? Well, I wouldn't do this. Well, the problem with portrait work, as people know, and I've said it before many times, if you have an obscure picture, who else is going to do it? Who else is going to want to do it? So you have to either pick a celebrity or a unique portrait and do it that way. So everybody then can do it, and it's got to be a picture that someone would be proud to put on their wall, or more importantly want to do. So this is the reason why we have these problems, but I have overcome it. There's a couple, as I say, coming up, and I think you'll enjoy doing them, and I will do more. But unlike, you know, if we have a lovely dog or a cat, which was universally appealing, then I would do that. And in fact, I have done one very recently. I did a dog for somebody, and I've done a cat, haven't I, for somebody. Because it's one that I wanted to do anyway, one that I know you'd like to see and you would want to do. So that's the difference, Steve.
Going back to the hair as well, the hair on the photograph is translucent. You know, you can see through the hair because it's fine. Now, with the coloured pencils, I imagine to get that, because you've always said to me that pastel pencils is a translucent medium in the fact that you can see through it. Would that, you can see where I'm going with this, would that benefit you as well with the hair, in that coloured pencils is a different kind of, it's difficult to get that translucence? See?
Absolutely, absolutely. The thing is about a coloured pencil, once you put it on, you've only got pressure. You've only got the pressure to worry about. You know, if you put it on lightly, you'd hardly see it at all. And then if you put it on heavy, you see it too much. With the pastel pencil, you've got that subtlety, much, much more control over how much you put on. And then you've got the added advantage, of course, of the colours, adding one colour on top of another colour on top of another colour. They melt into each other, where coloured pencils, they tend to stay there, and you don't get that effect. But yes, the translucency of the pastel pencil certainly helps, and it helps too on the skin when we're doing skin colours, as you know. You can put half a dozen colours on, and you create a tone then which is very representative of real skin. Very hard to do it, but I mean, I think I've seen some pictures, coloured pencil pictures, and they are very good, but they're done by really good professional artists who spend a long time on them, Stephen.
Yeah. I
remember talking to somebody once who was using coloured pencils, and she said it takes her a week or 2 weeks sometimes just to do a picture, wherein with a pastel pencil it would take 2 or 3 days at most.
It's because there's so much work involved in layering.
That's right. It's patience and expertise and so on. No,
too much hard work.
Definitely. Yes.
Okay. Great. Well, that's interesting, Gabrielle, and yeah, that's provided us with some good talking points. So I hope that's helped and shed a light on the coloured pencil medium for anyone that wasn't didn't know about that. So then the second entry we've got is from Jill, and Jill says, "Hi Stephen and Colin, can I have some help with the colouring on this one? The owner says he's a conker colour, so I want to know how to get that rich colour she's talking about without it looking ginger. You see, I made the huge mistake of taking on this commission where the customer said she wants the pose in the first pic, but the colours in the second too, and it's causing me real problems. Thanks, Jill."
You have my sympathy, Jill. You really do. Because
that is difficult.
Very hard to say no to people. When you're advertising, especially if you're advertising commission work, people expect you to be able to do it. And you would be reluctant to refuse and say, well, I'm sorry, it doesn't fit in with what I'm doing, or no, I don't really, can take some more photographs. All of this is off-putting. So I do have sympathy with you. But yes, well, coming to the crux of this, it can be done, but it's going to be very hard to do, because you're going to, if I was you, I would look at the picture on the right-hand side there. That's more the conker colour that we're looking at. The one in the middle really is no help at all.
There's not enough light. You
haven't got the light and dark, but look at the one on the left. You see how much light you've got in there. So you could kind of like interpret the colours from the ones on the right-hand side to fit in with the same tones that you've got on the one on the photograph on the left. I think it would be possible, but you've got some work to do here. I don't envy you. But how do you get the colour? Well, you can get the colour if you're looking at the very deep colour, the very dark colour. If you look at the one on the right, Steve, go to the one on the right. That's it there. See, that's a very strong colour. So that would need one set of colours. And then the ear or the top of the head, you know, where you've got that area there is a different kettle of fish altogether. So you've got to look at 2 tones, but in fact you're using the same colours, but in a different way. And what I would do, particularly the area on the top of the head of the one on the left-hand side, you've got some very light areas. No, not that one. That's it. That's the one. You've got some very light areas. But even that, I don't think would be a problem. You just go in with a light colour. Now, I would stick to greys here to start with, because any brown, I've told you many times, if you're dealing with brown, you can't put brown directly on, because if you do that, it's going to look horrible. So you've got to weaken it a little bit, and the ideal colour to do that is grey. And if you use the warm greys rather than the cool greys, it'll work very well. I could actually demonstrate this if you like, Steve.
Yeah, this brings us on to our first little surprise, and another benefit of using the camera is that, should we talk about the darker colour?
No, let's go for the lighter colour first.
Light colour first.
Work from light to dark, like pastel pencils.
Okay, so the lighter coloured fur, you want to look at the lighter coloured fur?
But if you move across to the dog on the right, because that's what we'll be looking at, so really. It's no good, oh God, we switch. Let's stay at that colour, and then people, I think, well, Jill, importantly, will understand what I'm trying to say. So that's the colour we're looking for.
That's the colour we're looking for.
That's the first colour we're looking for. Now, if we were to put 187 would be an obvious colour if you look at that colour there. But you can't put 187 on because 187 would be too rich. So we've got to speak. So what I would do here...
Let's show the pencils that you would use then.
Let me show you one at a time.
Yeah, one at a time.
Well, that one there, where are we?
Up there.
Up here, right.
270.
Yeah, 270. Now, I'm just going to put this on. I'm not going to draw the dog. I haven't got time to do that.
We're just going to show we've got a spare piece of paper on board.
So I'm just going to we're going to deal with, as I say, the two colours. That one first of all, and we're going to put 270 on. Just put a bit of 270 on. You can't see this, folks, and I can't show you. So you just have to... There you go.
You can hear he's doing it because...
Oh yes, I'm doing it all right. And then I'm going to blend it with my finger. All right, so now you'll see the end result of that. Okay, there you go. Now, you can't hardly see.
Wow.
You see what I mean? See?
Yeah.
See?
Uh-huh.
You can't hardly see it, but that's good. But that's the 270.
Okay, 270 is on.
Now what we're aiming for is that one over there. So let's go now with just a little touch of 273. Now you don't want too much of this.
Yeah.
273.
Just
show you that. Look, 273. Yeah.
So you'd put a bit of 273 on it?
I would put a little bit of 273 on, but not very much, just a little bit. In fact, I'll do half. Then I'll show you why I've selected that. Again, rub it with your finger. Now let me show you that. Now that doesn't look a lot different, but you can just see the tone. Can you see? You can't see because I'm hiding out from you.
I'm just trying to see.
They can see it. So
yeah,
that's important. We're not.
Let's make us bigger. Let's make us bigger, eh?
There you go. Now you can see it now clearly, can't you? That little bit of grey up. Where is it?
It's a bit darker. Yeah, it's got a little bit of darkness to it.
Right. And now we're going to put in the one. Where are we? Up here.
287.
I want to go where I'm looking at.
187. Sorry.
187. Yeah, 187. Now 187 will be the colour.
I just wanted to try maybe that
we use.
A bit more light.
Okay. Now we're going to put 187. And now the thing is, don't put this on too strong. It's going to go very
So you're putting
weird.
that on the bottom?
I'm putting it on the bottom to start with, yeah. And I'm going to rub that in.
Okay.
And then I'm going to put it on the top and rub it in. And you can't tell how much pressure I'm putting on, but I'm not putting much pressure on there. So we've got two tones here. There you go. Have a look at that one. Now we've got two tones there. All right. We've got the one on the bottom hasn't got any grey, a darker grey, and the one on the top has. But that now gives us two colours, not one. You see what I mean? We've got now two tones that we can work on. Now, go back to the dog, Steve. Go back to the dog. Now, you may have to fiddle around a little bit, but that is that light colour there. See, where you've got your pointer? Mm-hmm. Now, up a bit. That's it. That's the one I'm trying to get. Yeah.
That grey.
Grey, yes, that one. And then you've got the others. Now, the other thing you've got to remember when I'm doing this is I've just selected a few pencils. Now, you know me, I usually use a load of pencils, and I don't like to preempt either. I like to see how I'm going. You could find halfway through this picture thinking, I think I put a little bit of orange in or something like that. It could happen like that. Now, being the artist, it's up to you to do that. All I'm giving you is basic ideas about how to get started. And therefore, you've got the two colours there. Now, we want to move on from there into the darker colours. But what we do here, we've got another in-between colour let me show you what I would use. I would go now into the 283, folks. Let's show you that one on the screen now. Can you see that?
Ooh,
Yes. Yeah, they can see it. They can see it. 283 there.
Yeah.
Now the 283 on top of the 187 gives you another tone. And I'll tell you what I'll also do. Now we'd only be working on the darker colours here. Not
And you're working lightly. Are you working lightly so that you can put more colours on?
Yeah. Well, no. If you look at that colour, you see how it's beginning to turn a colour. Now let me put the 283 alongside it on raw paper. Look at that.
Yeah. Wow.
Now you see the beauty of having these base colours. Okay, so that's 273, that's 283, that is on the lighter colour. Okay. Now, you could probably get away with one more colour there, and that is the 177, but not much. You don't want to
show the colour.
And the reason I'm doing that, the reason I'm using 177 in there, up there, is the conker colour we're trying to get. This is the colour we're kind of trying to achieve. So I'll put this on half of that. I should have made this a bit bigger, shouldn't I?
Yeah, we're on a tiny bit of paper there, but we learn.
Now,
so you're putting that on half of this one side.
Yeah, so that people have got comparison.
You can see that.
You see how it's coming?
So you can see that this side has got the 177 on, and then that side has just got, oh my God, this is difficult, 283.
Yeah, people can see it. They've got the idea of that. So, go back to the picture again. You've got the idea of that now, and you can use different tones. You can use the 187 a little bit stronger. You can use the 1283 a little bit stronger. It's up to you as an artist to tonal correct as you go along. Now, what we want to go is down in the depths.
Down here.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Go there. That's the one.
Okay, so that achieving this dark colour.
And if you look at the picture on the left now, the photograph on the left, which we're trying to emulate, you can see where those colours would be. You know, between the ears, for instance, very dark colour, to right and the left of the eye, depending on which one you're looking at.
Okay.
Now here we ignore the light colour altogether. So we go straight in now with 273. There you go. Look.
Yeah.
See, I'm getting good now, Steve.
You're getting used to it now.
I'll make this a bit bigger. Now, I'll just show you first of all what this looks like when it's in. Now, this has to be in quite strong and blend with your finger. Or colour shaper. I mean, you could use a colour shaper here. There, now, look at that. There you go.
That's grey.
That's the grey.
Mid-grey.
Yeah, that's the mid-grey. Always start with mid-grey. Don't want to start with a dark grey. Now we're going to put the 187 on. Now you'll hardly see this at all because it'll melt into the grey. But I'll explain why I've done that. There you got it? You see that quite clearly. Now we're going to go darker. So now we've got the 283, and you could put more 283. If you felt it was richer, you want to put more 283 on. I'll tell you what I'll do half of it stronger. Do you want me to show that as well?
Yeah, just so... Okay. So that's what colour was that on there? 187.
187. You see, the first one that I put
was
on...
lightly.
Light. Second one. It depends on how much of a richness you want. But that will give you the richness. Now, what I'll do now is use the 283. This is the key colour, 283, that one. This is the key colour now, because that's the one that will create the darkness. And I'll go on the top. And I'll leave those two underneath colours alone, Steve.
Okay.
Because then people can see. Now here, you really are beginning to get the conker colour. See?
Yeah.
But it's too rich, you see? It doesn't look like the dog.
It's not dark enough.
No. So what we need to do is to use 177 on top of that. And that completely changes it.
I like the fact that you didn't even prepare this, you just knew this would happen.
Well, I've done it. I've done it thousands of times, so I know. You see how rich that is? But that, you see, if you go to the dog for a minute, go back to the dog for a minute. Now, that is too rich. Mind you, that photograph's a bit greyish, to be honest. It probably is. It's probably more the colour I've got on the screen. Now, the way of getting that colour is the black. Now let me do half of this again, just half of it, and then you'll see what we've got is that colour. There you go. Look, see? Can you see it on the
Oh yeah, yeah. Just turn that slightly to.
Now that is the colour.
Wow, that's
now there's lots of variations of a theme here. You could put 283 on again. You could even at a pinch. You could put 187 on again. There's various ways you can get these colours. You could put more grey on to start with. I would suggest what you did. To be honest, you've got your photograph in front of you, is to do what I've done here. I've just done, funny enough, if we can just talk for a moment about a picture I've just done at the moment, just finished. And what it was a very light subject. And I had to put a really dark background on. Chalk and cheese. It was really, to make the subject stand away, I had to put a very dark background on.
Okay.
And I put it on raw. And
which colour was it?
157. It's 157.
Blue, dark blue.
Very dark blue, and that's the only colour I put on there. Normally, you would think, oh gosh, you use lots of colours in the background, but I couldn't in this case for the simple reason I had lots of intricate detail on the subjects, and I had to work between them. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Between my fingers, I had to work between them
with that harsh colour.
With that harsh colour.
So
and it was really tough, but it worked really well. Now, before I put it on, and when eventually, folks, you see the video, you'll hear me say, I don't know what colour I'm going to use, and I didn't know what I was going to use. I got my two subjects, and I spent a long time on them, and now I was kind of a fierce dark background on. Did that first. I did a couple, in fact, but I ended up with 157 and I put it on and I, wow. And then I put that against my subject. Obviously, it wasn't on the picture, but against the subject.
Just held it up to see what it looked
against
like.
it. And I thought, wow, that really looks good. I could even put some of the colour that I'd got in the subject, if I wanted to, against it. And anyway, so can you imagine, though, if I'd have used 181, for instance, or black, that'd have been the worst thing. I wouldn't use black, but you know what I mean? If I'd have used the wrong colour, and I'd have done, and then I look, oh, I don't like that. How do you get that off? You don't.
No.
So this is a godsend, and I would always do it. I know it's a pain in the bum. You've got to think, I've got all the pencil, I've got to try it out. But this is what a professional artist would do.
It's like your palette, isn't it?
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
like a palette. It's like a mixing palette, and you'd use that.
And you can get, and you see, with this, you could look at that and think, like, let me just show you what I mean by it. When I said
you could show that up. Can you show that up?
I don't know.
Bring that down a bit.
Well, I can show it, but I don't think I can do it at the same time, Stephen. I'm not that clever.
I'm testing you now.
No, I'm not clever. No, I can't. No, sorry, I can't do it. I'll make a silly fool of myself. But you can put 187 back on. I'm just showing people that you could put...
Oh, over the top.
You could put it back on. See, 187 went over the top. Now...
Is that because you put the colour on underneath?
Well, it's also a compatible colour. All these colours are compatible with each other. You can use them. I didn't see the grey would work if you put it back on, but when you're using tonal colours that work together, you can then work like black, for instance. You know, when you get a black dog, I use the greys and I use the blacks and the 181s and so on. And I can then I can put white back on top of it, and it works. And it works because, first of all, black and white aren't a colour, so you're not restricted. But you can put these colours, you can alternate the colours, which you can with a pastel pencil. You can't do this with anything else, you see. No other medium would do it with. So you can do it. And this is what I would suggest you do. So, Jill, there you go. You've had
a little lesson there in base colours.
And bear in mind, I've given you the five colours there. But there's almost certainly going to be more colours you'll need. I can't see that you'll get away with that. But it's to give you an idea.
It's a good starting point.
That's how I would start off if I was looking at this picture, I would say. But I would have done what I've just done here before I started to make sure that I get it right. It's not often I start a picture and then realise I've made wrong choice of colour. You know, I mean, you can sometimes when you're starting off think, oh, maybe I should have used white instead of ivory or something like that. Then you can easily get that off. It's not a problem. By doing it this way, you've got a much better chance of getting it right without too much problem. But I don't envy you that. I don't know whether you're going to put that pink collar on. I wouldn't if it was me.
Well, it's not got the collar on this one.
I wouldn't put it on. It doesn't look good on the photograph. But you see, that might not even be that colour. Do you see what I mean? It's obviously not the colour, because if it's more conker, that doesn't look like a conker colour. So it could have also affected the pink collar.
Yeah,
that might not be that colour.
The same colour, yeah.
So careful with photographs. You know, I always say, if you've got a photograph, stick to the photograph, whatever. But of course, you couldn't in this particular case,
situation, no,
because you've been requested otherwise, and anyway, I don't envy you.
There we go. Well, that's all we had. I think this has been a success. I hope everyone's enjoyed our little setup.
Well, well, folks, let us know, will you?
In the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know if
Get
this was
off.
actually...
We don't want to see your faces.
Yeah.
Get off.
Show us more of what's on screen. Yeah, we'll play around with this and keep tweaking it, but this came to my head when I wasn't well, and I thought, you know what, we can improve this, we can make this better. Not only being in person, but also showing us on camera and doing things like that. I thought about the colours and showing.
Don't expect this every time, though, will you, folks?
No, we're going to get hundreds of requests saying, "Show us this, show us this, show this." Yeah,
no.
But we did tell Jill what colours to use, and obviously this is open to members only, so you have to be a member in order to even get this kind of interaction from us. So if you have got colours, you know, we've always helped with that on email and letting you know what colours. But every now and again, if we have the opportunity and we're not inundated, then we'll do this as well.
Oh, happily. Happily.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks everyone for watching. If you've enjoyed it, let us know, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.